Welcome to the overview video for UFC 310, Alexandre Pantoja vs Kai Asakura. In this video we will go over all the picks that have been made by the UFC Prediction Channels on YouTube for every fight on this card. And we start with the first fight on this card in the heavyweight division between Kennedy Nzechukwu, the 32-year-old from Nigeria, and Lukasz Brzeski, who is also 32 years old from Poland. And Kennedy is the huge favorite with minus 600 in average odds, and Lukasz the underdog with plus 430. 96% of the people on the Tapology community predict Kennedy to win, and only 4% are picking Lukasz Brzeski. So Kennedy is also a big favorite there. What about the UFC Prediction Channels on YouTube? Well, of all the channels that I've tracked so far, all 72 predict that Kennedy wins this fight against Lukasz Brzeski. And this makes Kennedy the biggest favorite of this card in picks by the Tapology community, but also in picks by the UFC Prediction Channels on YouTube. But he's not the biggest favorite fighter in odds on this card, because that's the fighter in the next match, which is between the 42-year-old Clay Guida from the United States and the 17 years younger Chase Hooper, also from the United States, who's 25 years old. And Chase Hooper is a huge favorite with minus 1150 in average odds, and Clay Guida has plus 690. 95% of the Tapology community predict Hooper to win this fight, and most think via submission, and only 5% are picking Clay Guida. And we see the same results with the prediction channels on YouTube. 71 out of 74 or 96% are picking Chase Hooper to win, and only 3 channels are picking Clay Guida to win, which are Henry Cejudo, Kamaru Usman and the MMA Guru. And of the channels who had a 5% plus return of investment over the last 5 months, 9 out of 9 are predicting that Chase Hooper wins this fight. And to be clear, the names in light green had a return of investment of 5% or more, and the names in dark green had a return of investment of 10% or more over the last 5 months. For more information about the best predictors over the last 5 months, check out the video in the description below or at the end of this video. The third fight is in the welterweight division between Michael Chiesa, the 37-year-old from the United States, and Max Griffin from the United States as well, who's 39 years old. And they are basically even in odds, with minus 109 for Chiesa and minus 111 for Griffin. But Michael is the favorite in picks by the Tapology community. 65% predict that he will win, and 35% are picking Max Griffin to win. And most people think this fight will go to the decision. And just like the odds in picks from the YouTube prediction channels, it's also very close. 35 out of 73 or 48% are picking Michael Chiesa to win, and 38 out of 73 are picking Max Griffin, or 52%. And 4 out of 9 of the best prediction channels are picking Michael Chiesa, and 5 out of 9 are picking Max Griffin, so almost even. Next is a fight in the flyweight division between Cody Durden, who's 33 years old from the United States, and Joshua Fan, who's 23 years old from Myanmar. Joshua Fan is the small favorite with minus 150, and Cody Durden the underdog with plus 125. So in odds pretty close, but in picks by the Tapology community, Fan is the big favorite with 83% of the picks for him and only 17% for Cody Durden. Most think Joshua Fan will win via a decision or a KO TKO. And Joshua Fan is also a pretty big favorite in picks by the YouTube prediction channels. 55 out of 74 or 74% are picking Joshua Fan, and 19 out of 74 for 26% are picking Cody Durden to win. Of the best prediction channels over the last 5 months, 6 out of 9 are picking Joshua Fan, and 3 out of 9 are picking Cody Durden. Next is a fight in the middleweight division between the 40-year-old Chris Weidman and the 37-year-old Eryk Anders, both from the United States. This is the second fight on this card that's very close in odds, with minus 113 for Chris Weidman and minus 108 for Eryk Anders. 61% of the Tapology community predict that Chris Weidman wins this fight, and 39% are picking Eryk Anders, and most of them are predicting this fight will end in a decision. In picks by the UFC prediction channels on YouTube, it's also very close. 37 out of 70 or 52% are picking Chris Weidman, making him a small favorite, and 33 out of 70 are picking Eryk Anders for 47%. and it's exactly 50-50 with the best prediction channels. So in conclusion, this fight looks to be a very close one in odds and in picks. For the 6th fight, we go to the welterweight division between Randy Brown, the 34-year-old from Jamaica, and Bryan Battle, the 30-year-old from the United States. Bryan Battle is the favorite with minus 220 in average odds, and Randy Brown, the underdog, with plus 180. 81% of the picks on the Tapology community predict that Bryan Battle wins this fight, and only 19% are picking Randy Brown. And most think that if Battle wins, he will win via KO or TKO. 59 out of 75 channels are predicting Bryan Battle to win, or 79%, and only 16 channels out of those 75 are picking Randy Brown to win for 21%. 8 out of 9 of the best predictors are picking Bryan Battle, and only 1 channel picked Randy Brown. The next fight is between Movsar Evloev from Russia, who's 30 years old, and Aljamain Sterling from the United States, who's 35 years old, in the featherweight division. With minus 260 in average odds, Evloev is the favorite and Sterling the underdog with plus 210. 65% of the picks on the Tapology community are for Evloev and 35% are for Sterling. In picks by the UFC Prediction Channels on YouTube, Evloev is a pretty big favorite. 59 out of 75 or 79% are picking him to win, and 16 out of 75 or 21% are picking Aljamain Sterling to win. And all 9 channels with a 5% return of investment or higher are picking Evloev to win as well. If you enjoy the content and find it helpful and informative, then don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much. Up next is a fight in the welterweight division between Vicente Luque from Brazil, who's 33 years old, and Themba Gorimbo from Zimbabwe, who's also 33 years old. Themba Gorimbo is a slight favorite with minus 155 in average odds, and Vicente is the small underdog with plus 125. Gorimbo is the favorite in picks by the Tapology community. 74% are picking him to win and 26% predict Vicente Luque to win. 49 channels out of 74 or 66% are picking Themba Gorimbo to win, and 25 out of 74 or 34% are picking Vicente Luque to win. 6 out of 8 of the best prediction channels are picking Gorimbo to win, and 2 out of 8 are picking Vicente. Next up is a fight in the light heavyweight division between the 36-year-old Anthony Smith and the 34-year-old Dominick Reyes, both from the United States. Dominick Reyes is a pretty big favorite with minus 360 in average odds, and Anthony Smith the underdog with plus 270. Dominick Reyes is also a big favorite in picks by the Tapology community. 89% of them have picked Dominick Reyes to win, and only 11% picked Anthony Smith. And most think this fight will end in a KO or TKO. And Dominick Reyes is also a very big favorite in picks by the UFC Prediction Channels. 67 out of 73 are picking him to win for 92%. And only 6 channels have picked Anthony Smith for 8%. Next up, we have a fight in the featherweight division between Nate Landwehr, the 36-year-old from the United States, and Do-Ho Choi from South Korea, who's 33 years old. Nate is a tiny favorite with minus 135, and Choi the underdog with plus 112. In picks from the Tapology community, Landwehr is the favorite. 75% predict that he will win, and 25% predict Choi to win. Most think this fight will end in a KO or TKO. 52 channels out of 74 are picking Nate Landwehr to win this fight, or 70%, and 22 out of 74 channels are picking Do-Ho Choi to win for 30%. So Nate Landwehr is the favorite in odds and in picks. But when we look at the best prediction channels over the last 5 months, most of them are picking Do-Ho Choi, making him the favorite there, with 5 out of 9 and 4 out of 9 for Nate Landwehr. The 11th fight of this card is between Bryce Mitchell from the United States, who's 30 years old, and Kron Gracie from Brazil, who's 36 years old. Bryce Mitchell is a huge favorite with minus 820 in average odds, and Gracie with plus 530 is the big underdog. And we see the same results in picks by the Tapology community. 95% of all the picks are for Bryce Mitchell, and only 5% are picking Gracie to win this fight. And most are predicting that this fight will go to the decision. In picks by the UFC Prediction Channels on YouTube, Bryce Mitchell is also a big favorite. 67 out of 74 or 91% are predicting him to win, and only 7 channels are predicting Gracie to win. And 8 out of 9 of the best channels pick Bryce Mitchell, and only 1 channel of those is picking Gracie. Want to stay updated with the latest picks and support the channel? Check out my Patreon and become a supporter. You get daily updates on YouTube predictions, odds and Tapology picks right up until the day of the fight. So check it out if you're interested. A link can be found in the video description. Then we have a fight in the heavyweight division between Gane from France, who's 34 years old, and Alexander Volkov from Russia, who's 36 years old. In average odds, Gane is a pretty big favorite with minus 360. Alexander is the underdog with plus 280. 62% of the Tapology community predict that Gane wins this fight, and 38% are predicting Alexander Volkov to win. And most predict that this fight will go to a decision. In picks from the UFC Prediction Channels, Gane is a bigger favorite. 66 out of 75 or 88% are picking him to win, and only 9 out of those 75 channels pick Alexander Volkov to win. Of the best prediction channels, 7 out of 9 pick Gane and 2 out of 9 pick Alexander Volkov. For the co-main event, we have a fight in the welterweight division between Shavkat Rakhmonov from Kazakhstan, who's 30 years old, and Ian Machado Garry, the 27-year-old from Ireland. Shavkat is the favorite with minus 390 and Ian the underdog with plus 290. 88% of the people on the Tapology community are predicting that Rakhmonov wins this fight, and only 12% are picking Machado Garry. 63 out of 75 or 84% of the UFC prediction channels are picking Shavkat Rakhmonov to win, and 12 out of those 75 are picking Ian Garry to win, or 16%. 8 out of 9 of the best prediction channels pick Shavkat, and 1 out of 9 pick Ian Garry. Then, for the main event of this evening, we have a title fight in the flyweight division between Alexandre Pantoja from Brazil, who is 34 years old, and the newcomer Kai Asakura from Japan, who's 31 years old. Pantoja is the favorite with minus 270 in average odds, and Asakura the underdog with plus 210. 78% of the Tapology community predict that Pantoja wins this fight and remains the champion, and 22% predict that Asakura wins this fight. If Asakura wins, most think it will be via KO or TKO, and that if Pantoja wins, it will be mostly via a decision or a submission. In picks by the UFC Prediction Channels on YouTube, Alexandre Pantoja is a huge favorite. 71 out of 75 channels or 95% pick him to win, and only 4 channels out of those 75 pick Kai Asakura to win. And the channels with the best results over the last 5 months, all of them pick Alexandre Pantoja to win. That was it for the preview video of all picks for UFC 310. This Sunday we will go over the results for this event and find out which prediction channel on YouTube had the most correct picks and won the most money with their picks. So keep an eye out for that video. Thank you all for watching, enjoy the fights and have a great weekend.